Good morning, everybody. It's Jim Feist and Kelso Sturgeon, both here in happy Las Vegas. And it looks like it's going to be Mo Money weekend for us, Kelso.
Listen, I'm looking forward to it. I finally had a good weekend in the colleges last week, and I'm now 16-7 in the NFL and smiling.
Well, I'll bet you that can make you a lot of money. 16-7 is that's pretty awesome.
And I'm just beginning. I've got two big games this weekend I want to remind people of, if I might. Last week in the colleges, I won a 100-unit play on North Texas State, which absolutely crushed Liberty 47-7. Coming back with another 100-unit play in the colleges on Saturday, and I'm just as confident that I'll win that as I was with North Texas, which I consider the most underrated team in college football. And then last Sunday, I hit 3 50-unit winners in the NFL. This Sunday, coming back with my first 100-unit NFL play of the season. Also confident that I'll get the cash there. And if you want to win with me, you can get all my selections on the internet at Kelsosportshandicapping.com or toll-free at my office, 1-800-755-2255. Once again, you can get my plays on the internet at Kelsosportshandicapping.com or at my office, toll-free, 1-800-755-2255.
That sounds great. Yeah, and I saw that North Texas play you had last week. That was pretty awesome. That was over in
Well, you know what? What happens with a team like that is, North Texas has, been kind of an up and down, average, unspectacular team, and that gets welded into people's minds, and it's hard for them to look past and respect a team like North Texas. But I can tell you right now, this team its great coaching is absolutely loaded with blue chip players.
Wow.
And if you don't study, you don't know that.
Well, that's absolutely true. None of this comes easily, that's for sure. Anything in college or pros this weekend that you want to talk a little bit about to the fans out there?
Yes, the Penn State Ohio State game is certainly one that I'm fooling around with right now in the handicapping process. And the problem with handicapping this game to me is that both these teams are good. They both can win the game and wouldn't surprise anybody. And the only thing that I have determined thus far is maybe the total is a better play than all. Penn State leads the nation in scoring, 55 points, 5 points a game. Ohio State's in the second spot at 54.5. Now, we need to consider the fact that they've run up these numbers against very modest opponents, and this is the first big game of the season for both of them. I'm probably going to use this game, but, I could end up using the total.
Yep, that makes sense. And a lot of times people look past the totals. They don't pay enough attention to them, and that's a big mistake, because a lot of times the totals are the soft spot in the line. And there's a reason that bookmakers take less money on totals than they do on sides. So that tells you something, and you should follow that lead a little bit.
It really does. But one thing I'd like to ask you, because I'm not necessarily a totals player, I certainly use them, but a question I always had, if you monitor the lines every day, which I'm sure you do and I do, you'll see, like, beginning on Tuesday, a little bit on Monday, but beginning on Tuesday and following through on Wednesday, there's a lot of people banging the totals very, really hard. Now, a question that comes to my mind, and it's a mystery that maybe has no answer, is, do you think that the sharps are using the totals in hopes of meddling a game?
Very possibly. The only problem with totals is you can't bet a lot of money in most places on them. They're really restricted in a lot of spots. Now, if you have some big outs, like some of the offshore stuff, like Pinnacle or Bookmaker or something like that, where you can get down some really big money, then it's worthwhile. But for small change, it's really not. If you can bet 5 or 10 dimes on a total and get a middle, you can blow up a number from, like for example, this weekend there's a Cincinnati Atlanta open 48's up to 53.5. That's enough space there to play a middle, but you're not going to get too many spreads that big. The odds.
No, I realize that.
But in college, you can get a lot of spreads that big, and a lot more.
The betting lines, I think, they've always been tough. Don't let me imply they weren't. I think betting lines today, whether it be sides, totals, or whatever, are the hardest that I have ever seen, and you just can't rely on statistical data to pick the team that will win or cover the spread or whatever. You've got to dig deep, and you've got to find a reason to bet on a team, really.
No question about it. I'm not much of a history guy when it comes to handicapping. For example, I really don't care what they did 20 years ago or 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. I'm more of the current, what happened last year, what's happening this year, kind of a handicapper. That works for me. But I know a lot of people go with historical data, and they do well as well. So everybody's got a different way to handicap it. I mean, I'm looking at the totals in the colleges right now, and I see some 3 or 4 point moves, which is harder to find in the pros. The colleges, they're looser, and they also don't take that much money on totals in the colleges. So you might move a game 5-6 points if you walk into the window and put at $500 a spot, you might go bet a game up. You might go up 3 points, and by the time you leave the window. So.
Well, I would think on totals that bookmakers play the faces. They don't. If they think you're sharp, they're going to hit you right between the eyes with the limit for sure.
Oh, of course. Anything else you want to talk about before we sign off, Kelso?
I would just like to point out that I think that the National League baseball races are a sight to behold. With 3 games to go, little has been settled really, and I'm wondering if the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to blow it and fail to catch Colorado in the West. And the Cubs are just hanging on in the Central. And as I say, we've got 3 games to go, and nobody knows who's going.
Well, Colorado's got a 1-game lead, and they got one of their best pitchers going for them today, Freeland.
Right.
And he's an 180 favorite, 9-5 if you're talking East Coast numbers. The Dodgers, they're going up against San Francisco and Bumgarner. That's a big rivalry, but they got Roy. I never know how to say that name. RYU.
What? Well, I can tell you that I'm down on Colorado today, and I just took a shot at beating the Dodgers with the Giants. And, I'm always at risk, but I'm at risk of the favorites as well as, underdogs. But I just have a bad feeling about Los Angeles.
Well, they blew it early in the year, and they did a pretty good job catching up. But
yes,
it's been a rivalry, a big race out there. Arizona folded their 10th down the stretch quite a bit. But in the East, it looks like we're going to have a play-in game between Oakland and the Yankees.
Right.
And I think that's going to be, I believe that's not, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's Wednesday. And I guess the question is, who's going to start for each team? And how
Well,
much...
no, it really is. And, I've been riding Oakland for the last 2 months and have done well. They just, this is a team that just fundamentally very sound, has maybe middle-of-the-road talent, but they come to get the catch.
Yeah, they're very good. They've surprised a lot of people. If you were the manager of both teams, who would you start in the play-in game?
Oh my! I tell you, I don't know, because I see a lot of tired arms out there, and I don't want to mislead anybody, but I really haven't even thought about it. Who would you start?
I'd probably start. There's another name I have trouble saying. Fiers, Freeze or Fires for Oakland.
I call them Fires.
I'd go with him, and I'd go for the Yankees. I'd go with Happ. I think they've been the two best pitchers down the stretch for each team, and that's what I would open up with. But I'd make it into a bullpen game too, because if anybody got in trouble, I'd have bullpen people out there real quick.
Well, by the way, both those pitchers too really are at the top of the game, and they're very consistent. And it's not like I love C.C. Sabathia only because he just seems like a nice guy. But he's has a bad habit of being up and down, and I'd hate to start him and find out that today was a down day, and that's not to knock him. I think he's an outstanding pitcher, and it's just I want consistency.
The problem with CC, Kelso, is he's as old as you and I are.
Oh, I know, but we're better looking.
We know that. It probably would be between Happ and Severino for the Yankees, who they would start. That would probably be my guess. But I would go with Happ.
No, I don't disagree with you.
Well, listen, why don't you tell people out what you got going on, how they can get a hold of you this weekend?
Okay, this weekend, a big weekend, going for another 100-unit winner in the colleges on Saturday, going for a 100-unit winner in the NFL on Sunday. You can get these games on the internet at Kelsosportshandicapping.com or toll free at my office, 755-2255.
Thank you, Kelso. I appreciate all your input, and everybody out there, if you'd like my plays, just go to JimFeist.com. I've been red hot. I've hit my last 9 NFL games, so I hope to keep that going. And I had a good winning week last week in college as well. I think I was 5-2 in the colleges. So JimFeist.com for my stuff, and Kelso Sports Handicapping for Kelso stuff. And he's been red hot. That North Texas winner last week was cake, and I enjoyed betting on that myself. Thank you, Kelso. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.